Happy New Year and welcome to the crossover. Just when you thought that Melbourne United were down on the canvas without a heartbeat, bang, they jump back in one of the hardest places to win on this planet. Maybe the hardest places to live on this planet as well. Beautiful Tasmania, but the JackJumpers crowd weren't enough to get Melbourne United over the line. I'm here, of course, with two of my closest friends, Peter Hooley and Damon Lowry.
You're going to talk about his hometown like that? Can you get a new joke in the new year? You got a new shirt. I'm proud of you for a new shirt, but like, Tassie's one of the best places you could possibly live.
No, I absolutely loved it. I was in Hobart. I settled into the hotel and I said, called the airline and said, could I get an earlier flight out of here? Absolutely loving my time in this city. No, I give Tasmania a hard time, but it did produce you.
Well, absolutely. What more do you need?
A lot. Melbourne United there, finally back off the canvas. The dirty word in sport is mathematical chance, but unfortunately for Melbourne, destiny is not in their hands at the moment.
They've been playing some desperate basketball. I think it has heightened their focus. Knowing that every game, if they lose again, could just about end their season, they have just been razor sharp on their focus, and they played an efficient 40 minutes today.
The JackJumpers, is that win more important for Melbourne United, or is the loss a bigger hit for the JackJumpers?
Well, I think it hurts the JackJumpers. Obviously, it keeps Melbourne around the hunt, but for the Tassie, it puts them back in the pack. They were fourth. I think they dropped to fifth, maybe sixth now, so it just makes it so much tighter. The rest of their games are even more important, so big loss for them, and especially on their home floor. It's a great place to play there, great atmosphere as we've been and seen, and hopefully it doesn't come back to haunt them later on in the season.
We love it. Well, one man that we have spoken about multiple times on this show, and we absolutely love him here. It is Dean Vickerman from Melbourne United, who I hope is in a very good mood because the season is still well and truly alive. Dino, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I just want to ask, we just touched on it. It's always tough when you go into a situation and destiny isn't entirely in your hands. You guys are in the position now where it's a mathematical chance, which is a dirty word, to be able to get into the finals. How is it? I know you're a big guy on culture and team morale. How is it keeping the group focused at this time of year?
Yeah, we kind of talked about, we still think that if we won out, that we had a pretty good chance. But it's a simple one. Just we're on the road a lot right now, and this is a great place to play. And we had Tarossi in our gym the other day, and she just talked about you don't need any motivation to get up for a game like this, and walk in there, be confident, make sure your huddles are great because it's so loud, and just go do what you do. And I thought we had a lot of people do a great job in their role tonight, and then we see Brad Newley have to step up and play the 4 spot with Barlow going down, and Marcus Lee was just absolutely amazing with Isaac Humphries going down in his minutes tonight.
Dino, speaking about Marcus Lee, obviously he joined your team a little bit later, but how great has he been the last kind of month and a half, and how much have you enjoyed having him part of your team?
Yeah, we knew he was going to fit our culture when he came in, and him and Isaac obviously played together at Kentucky, and there's a relationship with those two. But yeah, amazing rim protection, and then so efficient at the offensive end. He's only going to do the things that he's great at.
Dean, great job, man. I like the way you just name-dropped Tarossi. That's Diana Taurasi, the GOAT, obviously hanging out with you guys. But you guys got a guy, obviously, in Chris Golden. Can you just talk about how his patience, he waits his moments, and the team didn't forget about him, and all of a sudden, he just turned it on like he always does.
Yeah, they do a great job of making it hard for him to get out of corners, and he was patient tonight. I thought, when he came out of the half and made a couple of big ones, that just kind of, really gave us a belief and a life. And then, anywhere down the stretch, it just put the ball in his hands and know that he's going to make a decision or get to the foul line, which was huge for us tonight.
Dino, you've been a great coach in our league for a long time, no doubt dealt with a lot of different personalities. Obviously, the great man next to us, you're coaching for all of his 4 NBL career games, but what on earth gave you the confidence to allow this man next to me to house sit your house when you went away for a week?
My wife reminds me of that dinner, and I invited the boys over their house, and then I had a coaching commitment and bailed on him, and here's Felix with my wife and kids, and they don't know him for anything. But the house looked pretty good when I got home, so it was all right.
It looked good. And Dino, one of the best things in my career was I spent more time at your house than I did on the NBL court for the coach. I spent more time at the coach's house, but no, I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks, mate, for joining us. And look, all the best for the end of the season. Miracles can happen. Let's hope that you guys can roll out and pull something off here.
Has Damon ran a marathon today?
Of course. It was a triathlon, actually. I saw you running on the baseline. We might get together one day.
Man, I ain't running with you. Get crazy.
Hey, we're just happier when he's outside running and not running his mouth. So we'll stick to the outdoors one.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Dino. Now, Without that is a good man right there. A guy that if you're smart enough to let me house sit your house, then that's a bit of a worry. But he's a very good coach. Now, where's your little ball? You've got it because you know what time it is.
It's time. Hoo-yah! The battle cry of the Navy SEALs. I'm telling you what, when a Navy SEAL says hoo-yah to you, just get all the hairs on the forearms firing up. This one today goes to yesterday, or was it the day before? Whatever that day was, lose track of days. DJ Vasiljevic, my God, this dude. He's got every shot in the shot tree. In NFL, I don't know if you guys watch much American football, but when a wide receiver can run different routes, they call it the route tree. Well, DJ has a route tree himself in his three-point shooting. He can go left and shoot. He can go right and shoot. He can shoot out of the left hand, shoot out of the right hand, shot fake, 3, sidestep, 3. This dude is vicious. Hit 6 out of his first 7. Actually, yeah, 6 in a row. Then he finally missed one. But dropped 10 threes, 42 points, huge. And we already know how clutch he is last year in the grand final. He's a big shot maker. This dude is unreal. And he's a human torch. So DJ Vasiljevic, my man. Hoo-yah, big fella.
Oh,
you need a DJ to shoot that.
The one thing I will add before we throw it to a break to that is I love players that you're in a slump, just keep shooting. He kept shooting through all this, and that's what brought this 40-point game on. Good on Chase Buford as well, letting him go out there and do it. But anyway, it's time to throw to a break. But first, the geniuses at Sportsbet have put together a couple of bets that might come in handy this weekend.
Welcome to At The Line. My name is Simon Legg, and it is a Happy New Year to everyone, but not to Josh Jenkins, because he has been replaced by Felix von Hoff.
Well, we're going to speak about it in tomorrow's show, but I'll tell you what, there was a reason he was thrown off, and it was because he was drinking the Haterade.
Wow, on who specifically, or are we going to talk about it?
We'll talk about that later. We've got NBL to talk about now.
Let's jump into it right now. And we have one more game left on Saturday night's slate. We have got the Kings and the Wildcats, and the Kings coming off a very impressive win over the Phoenix.
Very, very impressive. The wounded Phoenix, I may add. So it's not entirely, we're not just going to look this, and the Kings are amazing. The Phoenix have been absolutely wounded. And DJ, well, he's been in a slump for a while, but 42 points. How do you like that? He's that sort of player. And credit to the Kings and credit to DJ. They've just let him roll during this slump. He's still been putting up shots. That's what I like. The last thing you want is a shooter that comes out here and starts putting up, 3 attempts or something like that from the field. So credit to DJ. He's found his game. He's going well. I think they're going to be a little bit too much for the Wildcats.
I know a shooter who put up some shots, but he missed consistently, and he might be sitting to my left. But hey, we want to talk about the Wildcats as well in this game because they're coming off a tough loss to the Breakers. Oh, what's this? No.
Wildcats are a snooze fest.
Wow.
One of the most boring teams to watch, but that may change with Ty Webster there. But yeah, I just have no interest in the Wildcats at the moment.
Well, you do have a same-game multi in this game, so I hope you have some interest there because we want to see what you're selecting in this particular
I've always got an interest in a same-game multi. I'm taking the Sydney Kings for the match betting here. DJ, 3+ 3-pointers. He's a momentum shooter. I've played with this guy before. I only got about 1 shot in the game because he was putting them all up. He's going to be able to get 3+. And, of course, if DJ's going off, the overs, 182.5. A little too low for me.
I do like that, actually. That's one of the few selections of yours that I don't mind. There's actually some justifications for it. But we want to move on to Sunday slate, and we've got the Taipans and the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix got blown out by the Kings in that game we just spoke about. But what do you think about this clash?
Yeah, well, I like the Taipans. And the Phoenix, again, we're talking about a wounded team right here. And the Taipans, little snake, wounded animal. I believe that's. Not sure really.
I don't know if that's.
Not sure whether they do that against. I think I'm thinking of like a raven or something. That's or is that a crow? But anyway, the Taipans should be able to get this one done over the Phoenix. Credit, they actually put up a decent fight with the roster that they're playing with at the moment last game. But look, the Taipans are going to be a little bit too strong.
You have a same-game multi.
I've got a same-game multi for everything, mate. How long have you been doing this show for? My God, you use the same format every time. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix at the line. I still think, as I said, they put up a good fight. I reckon they'll be able to stay within this one. Creek, my man, rolling towards an MVP. The Phoenix can have to win a few more games to do it. And Alan Williams, big source, 8+ rebounds, 2 of the most dominant players in the league there.
You've actually done really well, Felix, filling in for Josh. Or maybe you're not filling in, maybe you're taking his spot. But if you do want to follow Felix's selections in, please make sure you do responsibly.
You know the score. Stay in control, gamble responsibly.
Oh, the Cairns Taipans, no Pinder, no problems for the men in, will we call it grey, orange, beige? I'm not quite sure, but whatever they're doing it right because they are 3 wins in a row. The Cairns we saw about a month ago, we're starting to see that again. How good have they been?
Well, they've been great, and everyone had question marks because their MVP candidate, Keanu Pinder, was out, but they come and just absolutely annihilated the Bullets right from the start, and we were talking about it. It was all effort and energy areas right from the start. Taj had like a loose ball, offensive rebounds, layups. There was just no fight, and you can speak on a little bit further.
They just laid down. Brisbane, I don't even know. I mean, it's just a shame that Cairns had to go all the way to Brisbane to train.
Are they in the race for their 7th harden up of the season?
Like I only got so many harden ups. I'm not going to waste them on you. I don't think you're physically capable of hardening up. It's not an ability that you guys have. If it's me, I'm getting on the phone. I'm calling either Brendan Joyce or I'm calling Trevor Gleeson. You got to come down here and clean this mess up.
Calling all your friends. What about no love lost here in the Q Clash? We know there's a little bit of a rivalry here, but it was getting physical. We have a look into these highlights. Now, that one's a bit, for me, that's not big. That's the ensuing, the violence afterwards. Now, Mirko, I know Mirko is a tough guy. I would have thought he'd had a bit more to react to a random elbow than that.
Look, we all know fights on a basketball court are all fluff, and nothing's ever going to happen.
Now, this is the one that interests me, and his profile picture is going to play a little into this. Paul Smith, the owner of the Sydney Kings. Now, always interesting to watch flat track bullies having a day out. Thoughts, queries, concerns. Someone who just dominates on inferior opponents. So I believe that he's saying that the Cairns Taipans only beat inferior teams when really they've beaten the Sydney Kings twice.
Look, you ain't got to worry about Cairns. Now, Brisbane, you trying to fight now? Fight yourselves. You guys need to fight yourselves. Don't try to fight nobody else. You're out of your weight class.
But you know what? Paul Smith, I've changed my tune on Paul Smith recently because I understand all of this stuff is talking points and it's good for the game. So I love him to tweet out wild stuff. But if you're going to tweet out wild stuff, you've also got to have a look at your own roster because if you're going to talk bullies, you got one of the biggest bullies in the league in Sean Bruce, who has given Mitch Creek nightmares.
Look at Brucey. Bruce is a strong, he's a hitman straight in. Now, he played a little AFL back in his day. That's a great hip and shoulder. No call, and then Zay for the thunderous jam down the middle. I'm all for it.
It's amazing that we've got that highlight of Xavier Cook, and we're looking at that. How good is how's the chest hair going on Creaky to match the mullet? That was the sort of matchup that we had. But you know what, again, Sean Bruce is one of those guys where I wouldn't want to play against him, but I'd probably want to have him on my team.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, you summed up perfectly. Great teammate, great around the group, just antagonises, gets under your skin perfectly, and you'll throw the first punch, and then he'll give you a little nibble.
You'll throw the first punch.
He'll give a little nibble, you'll bite back, and you always get stung for it. So I'm all for it.
The ref always sees the one that's returning.
It'll be Sean's shout when Mitch and Sean are back in Horsham at the Royal Hotel. Sean's shout.
I'm taking Mitch in that one, I guarantee it. What in the world time? Because you know what, Damon, this is one of the strangest things that I have ever seen in my entire existence. You went on a run and your choice of fashion today is questionable to say the least. But what on earth is on your head?
Yeah, I went online and ordered fly nets. And while you laughing, not one fly has flown in my ear, up my nose, sat on my eyelid, or on my lips. So who's laughing now? Not one fly. You know why? Because I'm the Lord of the Flies. 7 Ks to go.
Now, that is ridiculous. To even go out and wear something like that, Damon, is absolutely ridiculous. I wouldn't have seen Ed in anything like that. But first of all, you may have avoided the flies, but I'll tell you what, you got about 17 public nuisance complaints every time you ran past a 7-Eleven with someone thinking you better run in there and rob the joint with this pseudo balaclava that you're rocking.
That actually makes you look better.
So I take it you like flies just using your face as a water fountain.
No, I go and take a shower every night so the flies don't attack me.
It's one thing if you're out there for 30 minutes. If you're out there for 14 hours, imagine living in a world where a fly gibbo never, ever dances on your lip ever again. That's a glorious time. That's a glorious place to live.
Gibbo.
Look, now, we didn't see the footage of him on his bike. Now, at least you're getting out there and exercising. Now, Felix, we know when you go to a game, you like sitting down. Usually when you play, you sit down. When you commentate, you sit down. But how's this footage? At least Damon's actually exercising.
Yeah, my bike goes somewhere.
I hate to shock you, but I was pedalling. That's actually a still image right there.
That is not.
So you're not going to see me pedaling. But look how tightly that suit is hugging me. Look at that. I'm almost bursting out of that thing. I need to be going on that bike.
Let the bike go somewhere. That's one thing. You know, you just sitting there stationary.
Oh,
I know you're
anyway,
the hardest working man in show
Anyway,
business.
the Sydney Kings are about to come up against the Perth Wildcats. Massive clash. Enjoy this one, and thanks for tuning in.